Hello, Greeners. Good to be back again in the Ramala Talks Finance. I believe some of you have watched the previous video where I talked about the mindset of a profitable investor. And in today's episode, we want to be talking about something very, very important, which everybody neglects. But for you to become financially free, for you to become financially successful, you have to think about it. And that is assets and liability. Asset and liability. I know it's something that a lot of you must have heard, but probably you've not taken out time to just analyze what does an asset is or what a liability is. So today I'll be making that clarity in a layman language so that anybody can understand. You can understand, I can as well understand. And it's just not about understanding it. You can also make a decision based on that understanding. That's the power of your words, right? Because if you understand your words, you'll be able to take action or take steps in line with the way you speak or the kind of things you say. So what's an asset? An asset is anything or any property or any maybe anything you have that adds value to you. And this time, what I mean by value, I mean financial value. So you have a phone, and that phone is bringing in financial value. I mean, bringing in money, dollars, pounds, whatever currency you use in your country. That is an asset. It means as you are using that phone is generating you what we call income. Whether it's passive income or whether it's residual income, it's generating you an income. So that's an asset. A liability is anything that takes away money from you. So you bought a phone, and your phone every month you have to subscribe, right? That's a liability. So your phone is a liability. Going on Instagram, you have to subscribe on the internet every month. You have to buy data if you're in a country that uses data. But you get what I mean. Every month you have to spend on that phone. If at all the phone is on the credit finance, it means you have to pay every month to those that actually credited you to have the phone, right? So that phone is a liability. So you want to now come to yourself to analyze. For instance, you get a pen and a paper for something like this, like a pen and a paper. You just write based on what I've said, what are my assets and what are my liability. Now you list them and you compare. Are my assets more than my liability, or my liabilities are more than my assets? If your asset is more than your liability, of course you're making a good decision. But if your liability is more than your asset, then you should start thinking of how to change the equation, right? Because assets will always generate you. If all things being equal, assets should always generate you a passive income or a residual income. Now, but if you have more of the liability, it means more money is going out of your pocket than what is coming in. And that will not be sustainable for you if you want to become a profitable investor, or if you want to become financially free, so you can be able to meet all those needs, all those desires that you actually have in your heart. So remember, we've talked about what is assets, we've talked about what is liability, and I gave you a task that take a pen and a paper, list down all your assets and list down all your ability. It doesn't matter the level at which you are in, right? It's just to start taking a baby step from today, because action is more important than just getting this knowledge. So you have your list, then know which is much and which is lesser. Then you can be able to make a decision from that. So if yours is that you have more of the liability than the asset, then it means you need to start thinking of how to start creating assets. For instance, you have a house. Now, I want to make this clarity. A lot of people think that they have a house, so that house is an asset. But that's not true, right? Except you're renting the house. So you have a house, let's say it's a 2-bedroom duplex or something you have, and the other half of the house, you're renting it out, right? So the paying you rent at the end of the month, that rent is used to maybe pay your electricity bill. Maybe that rent is used to pay your council tax or local government tax, or whatever you pay in your country. That rent is used to maybe do some fixtures and fittings in the house. Maybe the tap head is damaged, then use that money to fix those things in the house. But if it's a house you're living in, right, once you have a kid, and let's say the kid, maybe the electricity box just got broken, you have to spend your money to fix it. So that money is taking, that house rather, is taking away resources from you. So the house you live in, as long as it's not generating an income or a revenue for you at the end of the week, at the end of the day, or at the end of the month or the year, it means that house is a liability, right? You might say, but the house is increasing in value. Who told you that? Except when you sell the house, that's when you can be able to say, I made money from this house. Because it's possible that when you want to sell the house, the property market is actually going down. So you made loss instead of profit. That's just an assumption. We are talking about reality based on facts, right? So those are why you have to be careful with your language or your vocabulary. So if you say you have an asset, is it actually generating money for me? If it's not generating money for you, then know that that is not an asset. That could be a liability, right? So what are examples of assets? I just talked about your phone. I've talked about a house that you're renting out. Talk about a car. For instance, using the car for taxi or for Uber, that's an asset. You have an investment in the stock ISA, or you have invested in the stock market, or you've invested in the fixed income market, the bond market. So those are generating you return on investment at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, or at the end of the year. Or you invest in a private business, and that business is generating you money at the end of the month or year, whatever it is. So those are examples of assets. So now, how can I now start building my assets? Because you have to make that conscious decision. So for instance, if you make, let's say you make $2,000 or you make $5,000 at the end of the month, or whatever the currency you use in your country is, you want to be saving a portion of your income, maybe just saving it somewhere. Then you want to invest that money into something that you understand. Maybe it's a business, maybe you want to start a poultry farm, maybe you want to buy a car, you want to use it for a taxi, or you want to buy a phone and you want to use that phone for YouTube, right? You want to be a YouTuber, right? So you are now saving for that purpose. So once you have saved, then you go and invest in that thing that you understand and that thing you are confident about. Remember what I said yesterday in the previous video. I said that you need to make conscious decision before you make investments, right? So you've analyzed, then you've gotten your fact, then you make a decision based on that. So you don't save money, then you go and invest in something that end up being a liability. So you want to understand what you're doing, so your money you save is not wasted. Because it's possible that you're investing in something that is wrong, or in an asset class that is bad, or it's not going to be profitable at the end of the month or at the end of the year. So it's very, very important. So you save, then you start looking at what are the kind of things I can start investing. In this little step, you can begin to build your asset portfolio and also reduce your liability portfolio. So please in conclusion, I want you to think from this perspective. What are my assets and what are my liability? Are they generating money for me, or are they taking away money from me at the end of the day, or at the end of the month, or at the end of the year? Then you want to have a list of them. If you have assets more, you also want to increase your asset. But if you have liabilities more, you want to start thinking of how to change the equation, that your asset is going to be more than your ability. And if you take these baby steps, you describe that you're becoming greener. What I mean by greener, you're becoming more profitable, you're becoming more resourceful, and you're becoming more financial leverage. Thank you very much for your time. Please, if you've learned anything from this video, just put a comment on the comment section, then I will like, and also subscribe. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Bye for now.